Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Hey, Brad, Jonathan's not here right now.
Yeah, what happened? I think the kid is playing hooky.
Hooky. I played hooky.
Well, thanks, Frank. That's Frank Jolly on the Sticks. I'm Brad Epstein with Angius&Terry. This is the Saturday HOA Brunch. We're so happy that you're with us this morning. This is going to be a special show. What we've actually done is we have arranged this show so Jonathan Broderick, my co-host, would not be here. Right, Frank?
Hey, Brad, let me ask you a question.
Oh, here we go.
Who did you bring to lighten up this room? This is so...
Absolutely. We've been here for a while, just having a great time this morning. Deanna Themoleas, community manager-extraordinaire.
Too kind.
I'm still trying to whistle. I had peanut butter while I was...
And she,
I'll get it out.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. She is filling in for Jonathan Broderick, my co-host. Deanna Themoleas, introduce yourself.
Good morning, Brad. Thank you. Good morning,
yeah.
Frank. Deanna Themoleas, and I work for the Management Trust. Been there since 2001.
I remember that. I remember that fateful day, that first board meeting you were at. I was there as well. I saw your introduction into the community association industry.
Yes.
It was an annual meeting. It was a people were fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very intense meeting.
Yeah, it was a super intense meeting for your very first one. Okay, folks, we're so happy you're joining us this morning. If you'd like to go ahead and chime in, 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380. We're happy that Frank Jolly on the Sticks, he's been helping us this morning get all set up.
Those are my legs. Stop that.
Get off me. Jonathan Broderick's not going to be here, so Deanna Themoleas, she's going to go ahead and fill in. We're going to hear about her fabulous national management company, the Management Trust, one of the finest community association management companies. This show is all about community association management, and in particular, this show will make a board member a better board member. And today we're really going to focus on that in our past episodes. And I think this is actually episode 79 or 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's number 80, yeah.
It's number 80. Excellent.
It was a good year.
Class of 80, right?
Yeah, that's right, Brad.
Class of 80.
That's right.
Yeah.
How funny.
We have that in common, don't we? Okay, so we're going to talk about primarily fiduciary duty of board members, the duties of care, loyalty, competence, and confidentiality. We're going to look at some real-life examples. We're going to look at enforcing governing documents. We're going to have Hugh Waverly's litigation moment. At the end of the show, I have convinced Ms. Themoleas, manager-extraordinaire, to go ahead and participate in a three-question It's a version of Battle of the Board Members. We're going to have three great examples, and if she can get 2 out of 3, Deanna, 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Then you're going to be the big winner for not only you, but the next association where you have a board meeting. So your next board meeting, whatever association that is, they're going to get the equal prize, and we'll let you know it as well later on.
Pressure's on. Thanks.
Yeah, anyone who wants to call in and participate in that, absolutely, because we don't have Battle of the Board Members today. My co-host, Jonathan Broderick, he was not able to participate in that because, again, he is playing hooky. So tell us a little bit about...
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Deanna, tell us a little bit about the Management Trust. Where are they? How long have they been around? Where do they come from? It is a really great story.
Yeah, about 2005, 6 management companies decided to merge to make one strong management company, and that's how we became the Management Trust in 2005. Also became the first ESOP management company, which is employee stock ownership plan.
I think we should have beeped that word out. Is that
ESOP?
a cuss word? What is that?
It stands for employee stock ownership plan, and it gives employees an opportunity to save and get those funds. I shouldn't say funds, but stock shares into the company. So it keeps longevity and good employees.
Oh, I got you. So it is a program that is basically between the employees and the company owners, and it brings them into the fold. long-term employees. Okay.
Yes,
it's called ESOP.
we're part of the owners of the company.
Oh, I
Yes.
gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you said 6 different management companies basically merged, and these 6 different management companies. So one's in Sacramento, right?
We have Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado.
Wow.
So we're
all the way out
venturing
in
out.
Colorado. We've had a couple of shows on the big issue that's going on, Proposition 64, marijuana, and all the issues that are having associations. So I bet Colorado that'd be interesting to find out how they're dealing with it, because a lot of our associations out here, I'm sure you're dealing with the same thing. In fact, Deanna, and we're speaking with Deanna Themoleas with the Management Trust, she has the craziest problems at her associations. I think she's right up there at the top for the craziest ones.
Just dealing with a plantation of plants out there in a backyard of someone's home.
Right, and then you were telling me about the extracurricular activities in the front yard that we can't even mention on the air. We can't even mention on the air.
Just not on the front yard, but on the driveway. So that's going to be under a nuisance issue when I send the letter.
All right, so it's the Management Trust. You're in 6 offices merged, and now you're in about 6 or 7 states, and including in Sacramento and all throughout California. We have a lot of listeners in California. I don't think we have. Actually, we do have some listeners outside of California, because some folks are out there and they like to listen in through the internet.
Oh, that's great.
And in any event, a lot of our board members would like to know a little bit about how the Management Trust separates itself from its competitors. The Management Trust, it's a community association management company. Our board members, our listeners, they might want to know a little bit about Management Trust if they're not already with the Management Trust. The Management Trust has a lot of associations that they manage. What would you say are a couple of the things, Deanna, that separates them? Is it the customer service? Is it their the technology that they use? Is it is it the people?
I think it's our experienced managers. We have at least 10 managers that have been with Coco for our Management Trust from 5 to 10 years. So just that experience alone helps out other managers in other situations where if we had a situation over here and another manager's asking, hey, how did you handle that? We have our own in-house able to go from one manager to another to get that experience, how to handle those crazy situations that we come across.
I got it. So you over at the Management Trust, you managers, you know the law, you know especially the cornerstone. So the cornerstone of managing an association as a board member is the fiduciary duty, right? The fiduciary duty.
Yes.
And this is a state law. It requires board members to act in the best interest of the association and its members as a whole. And we're going to break this down, Deanna. We're going to so get ready for this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to break it the duty of fiduciary into the duties of care, loyalty, competence, and confidentiality. Care, loyalty, competence, and confidentiality. We have about 1 minute remaining before we go to our break. And so let's go ahead and let's look at the duty of care. And so the duty of care, this is probably the foundation of the fiduciary duty. And this, you could break it up into 3 things. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have a great example. In fact, our Hugh Waverly litigation moment is going to talk exactly about the duty of care. It's a new case, 2016, but directors must act in good faith in the best interest of the association as a whole. And what else? So there's 3 prongs to this. So what's the next one, Deanna?
The next one is that just that directors should act under reasonable inquiry. Just make sure that their decisions are reasonable, that they are thinking of the whole community, and how it would affect the whole community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so that one I like to describe reasonable inquiry as if you as a board member, you're not an expert, you need to seek expert advice on a decision, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so in our last 30 seconds before the break, the best example is when a board member is dealing with the law, right, or accounting, or where no one on the board is an expert on that. So they have to seek expert advice. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about duty of care and the other subsets of the fiduciary duty. Don't go away.
If
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380. The Answer.
Updated, new law.
Great. Thanks, Frank. Frank Jolly and the Sticks. We are the Saturday HOA Brunch. We're so happy that you are with us this morning. We have Community Association Manager-Extraordinaire, Deanna Themoleas, with the fantastic management company of the Management Trust. If you're a board member, we're glad you're with us because we're talking all about your duties. This is the fiduciary duty. We talked a little bit about the duty of care. We're going to get into the duty of loyalty, competence, and confidentiality.
Loyalty. Hey, wait just a second. I have a caller on the line who is very loyal to this show.
Very loyal to the show.
Yep.
If they're so loyal, maybe they should be here. All right. All right. Welcome to the show, caller.
The only reason I'm calling is because I want to say Deanna sounds great. I'm calling from a bachelor party, and I want to show the duty of loyalty, and I think you guys are doing a great job.
Sound like you've been awake for a week.
Huh? So that's it. I'm calling to say hi.
Hi.
You guys sound great from South Lake Tahoe, and that's it. I'm leaving. But I wanted to check in with you guys.
No. Wait.
Who is this?
Yeah, we don't even know who this is.
He sounds familiar.
Is this a crank caller?
Yeah, could be.
I want to remain anonymous.
We've already. This is Jonathan Broderick.
Oh, him.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm in your seat today. We switched it around.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm taking your seat, and Deanna's taking my seat, and Frank is in the house, as
That's
you
what
can
he
tell.
was saying when I had him on the phone. I kept trying to find out who he is. He goes, huh?
I don't think we need Jonathan anymore.
I don't think he can hear me or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe you
I
can't hear
can
you.
barely hear you guys.
What?
But you sound great.
What'd you
You
say?
sound great.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And I wanted to call in and say that Deanna's more than welcome to wake up early and take my spot on a Saturday morning. So good job, Deanna.
What?
And you guys have fun, and I'll talk to you later. I got to go eat some bacon and eggs.
Have a great time. We hope. Yeah, and congratulations to
He hung up on
Accordion
you.
Mike. And congratulations to him.
Watch out, Tahoe.
Yeah. So up in Tahoe. All right. So you were saying, Deanna, about the management trust and how they are very key on education of the managers. And it's really makes a difference because a good manager, as you said a couple minutes ago, is a function of their knowledge.
Yes.
And a function of their knowledge is a function of experience. But in order to get good experience, you need to have good education. And there's many opportunities in the community association industry for a manager to be educated. And so enlighten us on how the management trust pushes encourages their managers to get that education.
We have our own in-house education, which we have to go through certain courses with budgeting, with budgets, reserves, your budgets, your board packets, going over the financials, making sure the manager understands each line item, each correspondence, each connection to that financial
because
report.
you have to look at that stuff every meeting, right?
Yes.
The law requires board members to review financials on a quarterly basis. And so board meetings are, well, most of your associations, do they have monthly or quarterly?
I'm monthly, quarterly, bi-monthly.
How many do you manage? How many associations do you manage?
I have 8 right now.
8, yeah, and that's easy as pie.
Oh,
right?
sure, yes.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Right, and so I think you actually hit upon a good issue, and that is that the aspect of an association being run by a board, it really, in my opinion, requires this aspect of being able to handle all the facts and figures, which are, like you said, the budget, the reserves, the financials. All that needs to be organized, put together, so that the board can intelligently review it at the board meetings. And I know there are self-managed associations. I used to say unmanaged, and that doesn't make any sense. Self-managed associations, and that is a very hard job. It is a very hard job just to deal with the decision-making, the policy-making, to make sure associations run well. But if a board also has to deal with getting all the paperwork together for every meeting and getting it accurate and all the financials, then you need a great manager to do that. A management company, but a great manager as well, right?
Yeah, you have to be able to communicate to the board because most boards aren't CPAs and accountants. So you want to make sure they understand at their level what the financial, are and where their money is and how much money they have, and who's delinquent, who's not delinquent, what action are you taking on those delinquents. So you want to be prepared and educate those boards so they understand, and when you're presenting them, they understand what they're seeing and reading.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's flip on over to the duty of loyalty. So the duty of loyalty, this is not talking about the facts and figures. This is talking about when boards make decisions. And this is a real practical, when the rubber hits the road type of situation. When a board makes a decision, then in order for the board members to adhere to the duty of loyalty, the other board members, they can't go running out and saying to the rest of the owners, wow, what a bad decision our board made. And probably the best example is when you have an executive session decision, right? Behind closed doors, the law allows and requires it in some instances for a board of directors to do it without the owners. And so let's say the board of directors, they decide on a particular landscaper. 3 landscapers bid, the board of directors chose one, and it was a 3-2 vote. Our example, Deanna, is going to be a 5-member board.
Okay.
3 of those board members, they went ahead and they said, we're going to pick vendor 1. 2 of them, they wanted vendor 2, and it was contentious. In our example, this discussion that led up to the decision, it lasted half an hour. All right? They had to move from one landscape maintenance contractor to another. So when they made this decision, then regardless of the fact that those board members who wanted the landscape contractor that didn't get the job, they can't now go into the community and say, these three made that decision that we don't like because of the duty of loyalty.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so I'm sure you've experienced this. And what if the example of where, and this happens frequently as well, a board of directors, they make a decision, and then we'll go with the same example. So the two board members that they didn't get the decision to go their way, they want it changed. So how can they go about doing that? Well, they can go about doing that if they find new information, right?
Right.
But they can't go ahead and make it. It would not really make a lot of sense. It would be disruptive if they try and change the decision without any new information.
Right.
Do I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So now what about attacking fellow board members on their decisions? Now, I'm sure that you experienced this as well. And something that I have to talk about frequently with boards is that your job as a board member is adhering to the law, but also we have the other aspect, and that is politics.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that is a huge issue. And I think a lot of board members, they have a hard time seeing the defining line between owners harassing them on the one hand and just plain politics on the other hand. Mm-hmm. So do you experience this?
Oh, yeah. I try to tell my board members that when you're in your board meeting, you're the board member. You got your board member cap on and discuss opinions, go back and forth, but that stays here. Then when you leave, you become a homeowner again. So when the homeowners approach you and they ask things, I tell them to come to a board meeting. I'm a board member of 5. Or call management. That's what I'm here. I
gotcha.
I try to take it away from the board member, have the homeowner call me what's going on so I can explain to the board what's going on. Because I don't like putting the boards on spots with individual homeowners.
I got you.
It gets hard on some boards because that's where they pull away and don't want to be a volunteer anymore.
Right.
And that's what makes it hard to
Confrontation.
Yes.
Yeah, real difficult. All right, so let's go to the duty of competence. So the duty of competence is important as well. And you as a board member, you have to have a level of competence. And this level of competence is almost, I like to put it, in order to be successful in business, if you get on time to where you're supposed to be, and you are dressed well, and you are prepared, you're 90% there.
Oh, yes.
Right? All right, so what are some different factors that you believe that this duty of competence it entails?
Well, definitely you have to attend the meetings. You should know your governing documents, which you bring to the meeting with you in case you need to review them again. You try to avoid conflicts of interest. If there's a board member that wants his brother to do the landscaping project, you explain why it's not the best idea. And good faith. I tell my boards, good faith and reasonable decisions make good harmony in the community.
That makes sense. Now, what about due diligence?
Due diligence. Always want to be prepared. Boards should be prepared, knowing what the board packet is, what's in the board packet, ready to go. So the homeowners out of 10 feel that the management and the board are all on the same page and they are a team.
Oh, how important is that?
Oh, very much.
At meetings, if a board member is looking at their packet for the first time when the meeting starts, I consider that a little embarrassing. They're flipping through it, their heads down, and the first thing I think of is, hey, they didn't read their packet. All right, don't go away.
You get a couple like that, but it's training them.
There you go.
To be more efficient.
Don't go away. When we come back, it's going to be duty confidentiality. Then we'll have that new published court case, and then we'll go into our 3-question quiz.
Okay.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Rick Russo, owner of Russo Insurance Agency and Financial Services. We proudly serve Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, and the surrounding areas. At Russo Insurance Agency, we like to say, get to know us before you need us. Our insurance agency is built on relationships and trust. If you want to be certain that your most valuable assets are insured correctly, allow us to give you more than just a 15-minute quote. For all your commercial, home, auto, and life insurance needs, call us today at 916-791-1901. That's 916-791-1901, or online at rickrussoinsurance.com. That's rickrussoinsurance.com. Thank you.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
Does your HOA community have a reconstruction or specialty project? The GB Group has been successfully serving community associations in California and Nevada for over 20 years. From renovation to reconstruction, exterior coatings and paint, ADA compliance, 24-hour emergency response, and more. Call the GB Group today, toll free 1-800-653-7172. 1-800-653-7172. Or find them online at gbgroupinc.com. gbgroupinc.com.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP.
Yeah.
And now your hosts, Brad
Great taste in
Epstein
music.
and
I like
Jonathan
Frank,
Broderick
though.
on AM 1380, The Answer.
All right, listeners, welcome back. This is the Saturday HOA Brunch. We're so happy, as usual, that you're with us today. If you want to chime in, give us a hard time, what have you, 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380. With us in studio, live, is manager-extraordinaire Deanna Themoleas, and she is with the Management Trust. We're going to get into, in just a second, the duty of confidentiality. Deanna, I have spent meetings with boards over 2.5 hours on just this subject, duty of confidentiality. It's counterintuitive. Why should the board of directors be able to keep secrets from the owners? The law requires it in some circumstances.
Yes.
All right. So, what's that, Frank?
There's somebody giving a shout out for a bachelor party.
Oh no, we got the Broderick and Company on the line now. Did they want to talk with us?
Yeah, they didn't want to talk to me. They said, "Get off the phone."
Oh, that's funny. Well, okay, who's out there? Welcome to our show. Let's
Brad.
Yeah, hi, my name is Brian. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm just giving a shout-out to my buddy on a bachelor party. His name's Mikey.
Mikey,
the accordion Mike, I call him. Hey, Brian, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it. Do you want to?
Anytime, buddy.
Yeah. All
I
right.
love the HOA talk.
Excellent.
All day. I listen to you guys every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah, he takes a tape of a show and wakes up to us.
You gotta love Brian. Man, what a guy.
That's his alarm.
Thank you so much, Brian. Do you have any other comments?
Yeah, go solar.
AM 1380. The answer.
Oh, well, that's the answer.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, what was the question?
Okay, Brian's a great guy. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we want to hear about Dan Kokel. Dan Kokel. Kokel Management was the name of your branch of the Management Trust. Before that, back in the day, it was Applegarth and Kokel.
Yes.
A&K.
Yes.
A&K.
Yes.
And there is one manager in particular that's still with the Management Trust that is one of my favorite managers, and she was with them at that time. I was working as an attorney for community associations with Applegarth and Kokel at the time, and then it changed to
Kokel Management.
Kokel Management.
Because
right.
I believe they decided to retire.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But Dan, great guy. Very well missed. Missed very much. Mentor. Hired me in 15 minutes and never regretted it, and still there.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about HOA industry.
So did you say you started with Kokel, which is now the Management Trust, a great management company in 6 states. So you started in year 2000?
2001.
2001. Okay, so it's 15 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Dan Kokel, Dan Kokel passed, and was it last year?
Yeah.
And so Dan Kokel
April.
was a pillar in the community association management industry. He was on the board of directors of CACM, California Association of Community Managers. Yes. He was a gentleman. He was super smart. He was super polite. He had the ability to calm down a crazy association meeting.
I was going to say
you know, it just happens. We're human. We're gonna fight. We're gonna have heated discussions. People don't need to go crazy and think, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. Come on.
Well, look at our first meeting where I met you,
right.
and I went with Dan.
These are important
and
issues.
This crowd was crazy.
And what did he do at that meeting? He was a cucumber. He was calm and cool, and it was so. I think that's one of the reasons why you became a success, because he was a mentor to you, right?
Yes, he taught me everything I know. Yeah.
Just a fabulous person.
I was lucky to be taught by him and work with
Very
him
lucky.
and mentor by him. And I always have him in the back of my head when a situation starts to get a little crazy. What would Dan do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I always remember this. Our original receptionist, right, in my office. It was my mom.
That's right.
Was a receptionist.
That's right.
And my mom would talk to everybody, all the community association managers, right?
Yes.
All the board members, they would call in to go through her. And she would say so frequently, wow, that Dan Kokel is such a nice person, such a gentleman. And so true. Now, on the other side of the coin, he was a great business person. He knew how to be Johnny on the spot. He knew how to be super attentive.
Yes.
He knew how to run a company
Yes.
that was really, it's the modern day company, right? It is super, where you have great service is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Trying to get that out. I mean,
Fair,
Dan Kokel, we all get
customer
misty-eyed
service
when we
was
talk
his
about Dan
thing.
Kokel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he knew what customer service was all about.
Yes.
He knew the personal touch. And I think we're talking earlier. Is it your recollection that Dan Kokel would go to all the annual meetings?
Yes.
Yeah, just amazing, just amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so
I always called him E.F. Hutton. When he started speaking, people would just stop and listen.
I think E.F. Hutton appreciates that.
Yeah, good.
That's good.
I know Dan did.
All right, so duty confidentiality, again, we could talk about this all day. Duty confidentiality, boards of directors, they have this duty. If there's, in particular, we're talking about executive sessions, right? So executive sessions, what are these? What type of, these are board meetings, right, Deanna?
They are board meetings. They are just the board-only attendees in the meeting. They're discussing either third-party contracts, delinquents, foreclosures. What else do we have on there? Personnel issues within themselves. And, just trying to get things taken care of in that 4 or 5 things I stated, and get them taken care of without the members getting too involved and sidetracking the business of the board.
Exactly. So executive sessions, as Deanna said, they are board meetings that are close to the general membership.
Yes.
They are close to the general membership. And who would have thought that? Who would have thought that a board of directors of a community association, which are corporations, 99% of them are corporations, and they can make decisions, the board can make decisions and kick the owners out of there? Wow. We've heard of the Brown Act, right? You've heard of the Brown Act? And so this is similar to the Brown Act. Brown Act is a different law. That Brown Act doesn't have anything to do with community associations. It has to do with the governmental agencies. The Davis-Sterling Act, where the Open Meeting Act is a part of, it just has to do with community associations. And so the board of directors, as you said, they can have discussions in executive session. So let's go through those again. As Deanna said, right? Litigation,
contracts, discipline, personnel matters, and member payment assessments, delinquent payments, things in that nature.
There you go. Litigation, formation of contracts, member discipline, personnel matters, member payment of assessments. And so you have those, and that's May. So May, what are you saying, Brad? So that is the board of directors. They have the choice. They have the choice to go ahead and talk about those in exec session. Most of the time they really should. Litigation, how are you going to win in your litigation if you are making decisions in the open? Now here's why this matters so much. The board of directors, they have what's called the attorney-client privilege.
Right.
They have that confidentiality. Attorney-client privilege. When you speak with your attorney, you do not have to disclose what you spoke about with your attorney to others. Otherwise, you would never be able to actually be successful in litigation. It's negotiations, right?
Yes.
Because, Deanna, let me ask you a question. So what percentage of court cases in California do you believe, and these are civil cases, not criminal, do you believe are resolved without a trial, without a judge or a jury saying, this is the decision that's going to be? What percentage of court cases in California do you believe are resolved without a court case? That is through negotiations, mediation. How many? Throw it out there.
I'll say 60, 70%.
You're saying 60 or 70%?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, Deanna, that it is actually 97%.
It is.
It's 97%.
That's good to know.
Right. And so that's in California. And in the United States, that same statistic, the number of cases that are resolved without trial, is also 97%. Now,
higher than I thought, just because what I deal with litigation.
You're thinking this is going to trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this is that 30 years ago, right? 30 years ago, the number was the same. It's always been this way.
Wow.
Yeah, civil cases. Now, criminal cases.
And how different the CCNRs have become in 30
years.
years.
Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh.
I have a set from 30 years still.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Now, before we go to break, there's a couple items that must be disclosed in executive session, not just must. Member discipline if requested by the member payment plan requests, and the decision to foreclose on an assessment lien.
Yes.
So those are must. If the board of directors is going to decide to foreclose on an assessment lien, the board of directors, they must make that decision in closed executive session. If a member wants to talk about a payment plan, or board of directors is going to discuss a payment plan, executive session.
But it has to be noted in the open board meeting minutes that these decisions were made without providing the identification of that unit
in the
home.
Next set of meetings in a general way. Well stated. All right.
Make sure
Don't go away. We're going to do our quiz. We're going to have Hugh Waverly's litigation moment. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company, providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380. The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Thank you for sticking with us. We have the last quarter and the Saturday HOA Brunch. Jonathan Broderick, my co-host, is not with us today. He's playing. And in the house is Deanna Themoleas. Thank you so much for joining us today, Deanna.
Oh, thank you. I think Jonathan lost his job. I enjoy doing this with you, Brad.
Fantastic. Okay, before we go into our litigation moment and our quiz, we're going to want to hear a little bit more about the management trust. And so we're talking at the break about the fact that on each community association it has a manager from the management trust that manages, but there's also other persons that are assigned to the case as well that work on it.
Yes, we have an accountant to an assistant manager to the manager, and then the executive manager who oversees those three to ensure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. Our board packets are correct, our action lists are followed through, our assistants are trained just as much as the managers, so we're all on the same page of how to handle situations and certain calls, customer service.
You know, that sounds like it will make sure that nothing falls through the cracks.
Yeah, we try.
I think that's probably the number one fear of people in business, especially when you're doing a lot of different things. And also with community associations, there are a lot of deadlines.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding.
But our accounting manager also reviews the accountant's financials before they are set to the manager for the board. So we have another set of eyes also.
Oh.
So that's been a wonderful tool for us, because now there's my eyes and the accounting manager's eyes. So if there's any discrepancies, we can catch those before the final financials come out for the month.
That's huge.
Yes.
All right, so let's get on with things. This is the litigation moment. The case is Palm Springs Villas 2 Homeowners Association, Inc. v. Parth. Palm Springs Villas 2 v. Parth. June 21st, 2016 is hot off the press. A director cannot close his eyes to what is going on about him in the conduct of the business of the association and have it said that he is exercising business judgment. A condominium association sued a former president for breach of fiduciary duty. The trial court ruled in favor of the former president, a reason there's no way it could be reasonably argued that the former president was in breach. The association appealed. The appellate court reversed the trial court. It reasoned that it could be reasonably argued whether the president exercised reasonable diligence under the business judgment rule when she investigated and paid roofers. At the president's deposition, association counsel asked the president if she had investigated whether the roofer was licensed. And the president answered, "I didn't investigate anything." The board hired the roofer to work on a time and materials basis. A board member said that the roofer never met with the board or submitted a bid for the work before he started work on the roof. In fact, the association had no records of a written contract with the roofer. The association paid the roofer more than $1.19 million for the roof, for the work. The expert for the association said that the roofer charged almost double. Now, notwithstanding the deference to director's business judgment, the business judgment rule does not immunize a director from liability in the case of her abdication of corporate responsibilities. When courts say that they will not interfere in the matters of business judgment, it is presupposed that that judgment, that is the reasonable diligence, has in fact been exercised. In sum, a director cannot close his eyes to what is going on about him in the conduct of the business of the association and have it said that he is exercising business judgment. Brand new court case, hot off the presses. That's our litigation moment. All right. Our quiz. Deanna, I'm going to go through a couple examples, and you tell me what the board should do. The board should do. The first one is as follows. The association is soliciting bids for its landscaping contract because they're not happy with the landscape company services. The current landscaper sometimes provides little extras, such as planting extra flowers, free of charge to one of the board members. That board member is in favor of keeping the current landscaper, of course, and argues vigorously to keep them. The rest of the board does not know about the little extras the current landscape provides to the one board member. What should the board do? You're on the spot, Deanna.
Well, first, I think the board should look at new landscapers because the landscaper shouldn't be giving these little extras without the whole board knowing. It does look like a little kickback there for that one board member. And the board member should know that if you're going to do these little extras, the whole board and the community should be aware of it.
Absolutely. Ding! I'm giving you full credit for that one. Nice job. All right. So we have two more examples remaining. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a $100 gift card if you get one of the two correct.
Okay.
One of the two remaining correct. In addition, we're going to give your next board, your next community association, also $100. Okay? We're running out of time. Okay. All right. So
pressure's on now.
All right. We're just going to go to, if a board disagrees with the advice provided their expert, they can, Here it is. An association development is full of beautiful trees. However, the tree roots are starting to cause damage to pipes and sidewalks. The board hires an arborist to develop a comprehensive plan. The arborist informs the boards that several trees must be removed. A majority of the board believes that the trees add value to the community and should not be removed, so they disagree. What should the board do?
Well, if they're going to disagree with the arborist, I would definitely put it in as a manager in the minutes that they are not doing this. So if anything happens in the future, it's record that the board decided to decline this work. And then that way there's no liability issues on management, but also that the community understood that the board declined. And I think they should have done some of the work personally, but...
You think they should have... Okay, we're going to give you full credit on that one.
Trees,
they should have done the trees.
Trees do more damage than people's...
All right, Deanna Themoleas, thank you for joining us.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Thank you, listeners.